Hi, I'm Patty Dreier. Welcome to Portage County Matters. I'm really glad that you're with us today. I have a special guest today. That's Alex Beyer. He's our solid waste administrator, and you'll notice when the camera screen goes out, gives us a wider view, that we are sitting amongst some trash here today and some recyclables. So it's going to be a very interesting show for everybody to learn a lot more about how our solid waste management program works in Portage County, and to meet Alex. He's been here for a couple of years. I have 3 news notes to give you first. One of them is that Portage County government is developing a new website. More and more of us today are using technology for our daily lives and our portal to government or to other organizations. And Portage County is looking ahead to an improved website opportunity for folks. Something that we hope will make it easier to do business, to learn more about how to engage in government, to access information, and so on. Here's what I'd like from you. I'd like you to let me know about what you would like to do in the way of business at the website. Maybe get information from the website that you can't get at this time, how we can make it better for you, and provide that input to me, and that will help us. By the middle of the year, this year in 2014, we'll go ahead and have a new website to roll out. And so right now, this spring is a really great time to gather that input, make sure that we are thinking along the same lines you are about what you need to be able to do at that website, what would make your business transactions, say you need to get a permit for something, for example, to make it all easier for all of us to work together and keep Portage County moving forward. So I'll look forward to hearing from you. We've got our website right now at www.co.portage.wi.us. You can take a look there. Also, you can give us a call at 715-346-1997, and we'll connect you. You can even stop up if you needed to provide your input in person. So we'll look forward to hearing from you on that. Item number 2 is related to RSVP. That is a volunteer program for people ages 55 and older that is centered out of our Aging and Disability Resource Center here in Portage County. Last month I mentioned how we generate an annual volunteer report now, and our 2013 stats were presented at an April County Board meeting. This is a report to the county and the community about the ways that volunteers help us in county government do our mission, conduct our mission. And I just wanted to follow on that report with a few more details, as I hadn't given them last time. The number of volunteers giving of themselves to Portage County government's mission in 2013 was 1,321. The number of volunteer hours given was 63,223 hours. And the value, according to the independent sector that analyzes the value of volunteer hours on a monetary basis, even though we know volunteering is priceless to all of us, the value of the 63,000 hours was almost $1.4 million, an equivalent of over 30 full-time staff members if we had them all hired and working in government. So what a significant contribution. But that's only part of the volunteer story in Portage County. It's only the government part. Volunteers help in so many different ways, shapes, and forms. And RSVP, the topic I wanted, or the group that I wanted to highlight here, is only part of that large pool that gives 63,000. That was part of the 1,321 volunteers. And it's really extra significant because there's over 660 volunteers through RSVP that alone gave 53,000 hours. And I attended an event to recognize RSVP volunteers in April during National Volunteer Month. It is an extraordinary thing when you can meet hundreds of volunteers and ask them, why did you volunteer, and what are you doing, and how has your volunteer service changed over the years, and what does it mean in your life? They give to 72 nonprofit and public service agencies. And remember, Portage County's just one of those agencies. Anyway, they give so much in so many ways. The average RSVP volunteer served 80 hours, 2 weeks of volunteer time in 2013. They're active in a lot of diverse ways. I met some that had worked at Operation Bootstrap, some that are volunteering at St. Michael's Hospital, some that are square dancing and bringing square dance programs to assisted living organizations around the county and sharing what they know and their skills and the music and so on. There's so many different ways that they give. 50,000 hot noon meals were delivered, thanks to RSVP. 6,000 rides were provided to seniors and disabled adults, thanks to RSVP. Over 600 rides were provided to our veterans alone, all by RSVP volunteers. And in 13 of our schools, these volunteers went and actually reached out and helped 602 children receive educational programming regarding positive choices, and 105 students were tutored by RSVP volunteers to improve their reading skills and their school success. The Silver Threads and Community Crafters volunteers gave away more than 800 handmade items, handcrafted items, to those in need in our community. Memory quilts, those kinds of things, and aided in the delivery of Christmas cards to all of our veterans at King's Veterans Home. So the contributions from RSVP are monumental in our community. They really make our community hum. But this is only still a small part of the picture. Very unfortunately, this is the news that I have for you today. Federal funding that supports this program is in major trouble. As of the President's budget that was released, it eliminates Senior Corps funding, that is the umbrella funding for the Corporation of National and Community Service, through which RSVP and other local volunteer programs like Foster Grandparents Program that we rely on here are funded. They're all funded through that umbrella. And so it means that about $80,000 of RSVP funding is in jeopardy right now. And so I just wanted to make you aware of this. I know that there are some others in the community working to make sure that people who would like to express their voice on this to our federal officials can do so and know where to contact those individuals. I've already sent my letters to our federal officials and to the President of the United States. For every dollar we invest in volunteering, we get multiple returns. For every dollar that we invest, we leverage for additional dollars of value. For every hour given, we get so much more in return in the way of services provided, and then the health benefits for the volunteers themselves, as there's really good data about the health benefits of volunteering. So I encourage you to speak out on this matter if this is something that you are concerned about, and if you'd like more information, as always, you're welcome to contact my office. And the third news note that I would like to share with you today is related to energy. The month of April, when we're taping this show, is of course the month when we celebrate Earth Day, and so it was a natural connection that our energy report be presented, our annual energy report be presented to the Portage County Board of Supervisors on April 22nd. And it provided a snapshot, our very first time to give an annual energy report. Boy, that's not easy to say. The first time to give a snapshot on our energy costs. And the year that we measured was 2013. This is all a follow-up from our strategic energy management plans. In 2013 then, Portage County spent $1.7 million total on energy resources. This included $640,047 on utilities for our facilities, and also $1.145 million on fuels, including 325,402 gallons of transportation fuels for county-owned vehicles and equipment. That's for things like our deputies' vehicles, our highway vehicles, parks vehicles, and the like. These are all parts of our county's annual operating budget. I'd like to focus for just a moment yet, before we get to the guest today, on facilities energy then, just to dig in a little bit more on this particular report. We reduced utility use and costs over the last 5 years through energy efficiency projects like boiler replacements for improved heating performance, or replacing lights with LEDs like many of us have done at home, or replacing electric humidifiers with natural gas humidifiers. In creating the report, we had to tally 51 different utility accounts. Gives you an idea of the magnitude of the job and how large the county operation really is. 48 electric meters and 15 natural gas meters for 14 buildings. I thought you'd like those statistics. It includes pumps and fountains and irrigation, and considers all of our energy use in our county parks as well. Comparing 2013 to our baseline year of 2009 that we established in our energy plans, we had a reduction in electricity use, I'm happy to say. We've been working hard on this. We used 92% of the electricity and 93% of the natural gas in 2013 as compared with 2009. So we've been really taking steps to reduce our consumption, and the statistics show it. During these years, all but 1 year, the cost of electricity has gone up. You and I have experienced that at home. And yet we saved about $13,000. So some would say $13,000 isn't that much in the big scheme of things out of a $100 million budget. However, we know that every dollar counts, and saving $13,000, even as the cost has risen through our reduced consumption, was a really good outcome. If electricity prices had not risen over the time period, then it would have amounted to about $20,000 more savings than we had already experienced this year. So that was the impact of the cost increases. Where do we go from here? I think the real opportunity lies for us in long-range planning for facilities. For when you know that you will stay in a building, use this building for the next 20 or 50 years, the more you'll be able to make wise energy investments up front and know that you can secure those returns on investment over the years. That's what I see that we're going to need to work for here in Portage County, and I'm looking forward very much to working with the county board and the community on designing that long-range facilities plan, probably the first one our county will have ever had, and then committing more to those energy-saving opportunities for renewable energies included. So that's the news report for you today. Thank you for being with me here. Now, keeping with the environmental theme, let's turn our attention over here to Alex Beyer, our Solid Waste Department Administrator. Welcome, Alex.
Well, thank you for having me today.
You've been here almost 2 years, so yeah, it's been a ride, hasn't it?
Yep, into my second full year, so I'm getting the swing of how the annual things go on the county budget side of things and the seasonal solid waste fluctuations.
You hit the ground running, there is no doubt about that, and I'm just really happy to have you on board. I think you've been doing a remarkable job, and I hear that from so many. So thank you for that. I'll say that up front.
Well, I'm glad to put in the effort and time, and glad that it's recognized.
Now, we have a decorated table of materials that you picked up at the material recovery facility yesterday. I won't sniff too much as I sit here today, but because you really went in the trenches and you retrieved it just for the show today. We're going to get to a little bit of a discussion about what we recycle and why and how and so on, to answer questions that folks may still have related to our program, though many folks are so involved with recycling as it is anyway, and it's part of our lives.
Yeah, we'll show the folks some items here that are commonly recycled, and maybe answer some questions and clear up some confusions about what is and isn't recyclable.
Yeah. Now, when I first came into office 4 years ago, the Solid Waste Department was the first department, literally the first department that I put some extra emphasis on. We did a lot of strategic planning before you came, as you know, and redesigned things and took a look at how we would go forward with our Solid Waste Department. Let's talk about the department itself, the fact that it's an enterprise to be run like a business, your staff, where you're located, that kind of thing, Alex.
Well, as an enterprise fund, we kind of run like a business where we generate our own revenue. We don't rely on tax dollars to fund ourselves. And it's been that way ever since the department was funded, I believe back in the 70s.
Wonderful.
So we try to make sure that we're doing things at a cost-efficient way and also making sure we're providing the services that people want and the services that we have to provide by law. We charge a fee for the garbage we take in. We don't charge a fee for the recycling. We're able to process it and sell it for a profit and make our efficiencies that way.
Now, you're down in Plover. You spend part of your time down in the Plover area off of County Trunk B, where our solid waste department headquarters is located.
Yep, we have the recycling center and our transfer facility there off of B. If you turn right onto Apache Drive, you'll see it. We are open from 7:30 to 3:30 Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 11 on Saturdays. If you have any questions about materials to bring, you can always stop in and ask or give us a call.
Yeah, and you give tours there too.
We do give tours. The number to call, there we are.
We'll put it on the bottom of the screen for sure.
Let's see here. Run out of my notes here. Is 343-6297.
So that's area code 715,
Yep.
343-6297.
6297, yep.
Yep.
And then we do things, school
Test us.
groups, Boy Scouts groups, any groups that are willing to get a peek at the facility, they can give us a call. Got a little video there to kind of show how things work. And if you're using the facility, we do have some nice windows there. You can see the action as you're paying.
When we're at the solid waste board meetings and we hold them up in the conference room of the material recovery facility, it's always fun to look and see what's going on the conveyor belt and the staff working there and what's being moved around the floor and getting off to its market. So anyway, yeah, it's a good place to go. If you haven't, as residents of Portage County, I really think that is a highlight of our community to see where your trash really goes. Now, let's talk about you for just a minute. You have an interesting background.
Yes.
You're not the most typical guy that one would expect to be in this kind of field. So it's a neat combo. Why don't you tell everybody about yourself?
Well, I grew up overseas, some places you might have heard about in the news recently, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Syria. And then have ties to Wisconsin through my dad's side. He's from here. So I went to college in Appleton, then moved down to the Milwaukee area after that, and then on to law school in Madison. And after that, I was kind of looking for a nice community in Wisconsin to settle in, someplace that had sort of all the conveniences and opportunities of a big city, but yet still had that small town feel. And so,
Ta-da! Portage County.
Yes.
Yeah, and environmental law is your specialty area, and so, and having had experience working in with one of the major haulers and on hazardous materials related work, it's a great skill set that you bring to the job.
And it is amazing at how many areas the Portage County Solid Waste Department touches. Everything from stormwaters to recycling grants to keeping up our landfill, the hazardous waste program. We kind of touch a lot of regulatory programs, so it's nice to have a feet in everything.
Yeah. So let's get at it. So a lot of folks may not understand that our solid waste department, at least as I like to think of it, has three major components. We have the material recovery facility, which is the recycling facility. Most of us don't say MRF. We say it's a recycling place. And then the transfer facility, so that's where we bring our stuff for it to be then carted off to various landfills and other places for disposal, like if it was appliances and things like that too, right? Yep. And then there's the landfill that's closed. It's over in the town of Stockton and has it gets long-term care. And so those three major pieces, along with all the outreach with all of our municipal partners, is really center to your job.
Yep. I guess you can start with the landfill. It was closed in 2007. We have a commitment to take care of it for 40 years after it's closed.
40 years.
So we have been making sure we do our monitoring there. We monitor the groundwater there to make sure that there's nothing leaking out of the landfill. So far, everything has been fine.
And that's interesting because I went out one day with my assistant, Jamie Gabert. She and I went out with Jeff Ledzinski, who is your other staff member at the solid waste department. And so Jeff showed us how the groundwater monitoring is done and all different kinds of engineering aspects of the landfill. Is fascinating.
Yep, we have a couple dozen wells out there situated around the landfill. Taking water samples, we send them off to a couple different labs. And proud to report, the only thing we got a hit on was our field blank where we used Stevens Point City water because it had chlorine in it. That's what it came up for. So everything else is safe to drink right out of the bottom of the landfill practically.
And you have to get out there and you have to check that methane flame and all of that. It's an interesting thing,
We have
isn't
a
it?
gas collection system where we take all the gas that comes off the landfill and we burn it off right there. We do check that as well, and that gas is kind of a neat little window into the garbage in the landfill, and you can kind of see the gases coming out of there. We give you an idea of how the waste is decomposing, and the goal is that after the end of the 40 years, the waste will sort of fully decompose, and it'll be what they call a dry tomb, where it's covered on the top, covered on the bottom, and you just
Never
have a
heard of
hill.
that word, that word before, or the term before, dry tomb. Now, some folks may be wondering, why aren't we capturing that methane to be able to, reclaim it? And I just want everybody to know that we've taken a look at that at least a couple of times recently, and it hasn't proven to be economical for us to do that at this particular time. But hopefully, sometime in the future, we'll be able to the markets and everything will change, the technology will change, and it will make it possible for us to be able to do it.
Yep, but we've just kind of been looking at it every couple of years just to see what else has come up the line, and we're just a smaller landfill. Some of the waste is fairly old, and we're not very close to a power line, so just kind of, there's a lot of difficulties in there in making it cost effective. And as an enterprise fund, we always have to be making sure that we have paybacks on all of our projects, and it just, unfortunately, it's not quite there yet, but hopefully one of these days something new will be invented or come to market that'll allow us to generate some heat or some electricity off of that we can beneficially reuse.
Wonderful. You mentioned, making it work financially. Why don't we just take a moment before we go to the other two parts of the solid waste department, just talk about the finances over the last couple of years here in the solid waste department.
Well, the solid waste department had a period of time where it wasn't making money. In fact, it was losing a significant amount. So the department got somewhat drastically restructured, I would say.
That's right, before you came. Yep, that's the strategic plan I was talking about.
And it's gone to the model where we use contractors to do a lot of the work, so that we're not investing in things like equipment that breaks down and having to pay salaries and benefits and everything. You just give a contractor sort of a flat rate, and you get all your services provided, and when the forklift breaks down, it gets fixed and you don't have to pay anything extra. So we have a contractor that runs our transfer facility, responsible for loading and transporting the waste and taking it to the landfill and assisting customers with unloading their other beneficial reuse items.
And the landfill that you're referring to is either the landfill in Wisconsin Rapids or a landfill in Marathon County, right?
Yes, we have an agreement with Marathon County to ensure that Portage County has landfill capacity available. But due to the logistics and how close Wisconsin Rapids Cranberry Creek landfill is, we've worked out a swap agreement with the hauling company, so we actually take our material there and they take their material from the Wausau area to the landfill in Marathon County, so we don't have trucks passing each other on the interstate.
Interesting, yeah. So, okay, so we took from a financial time when we were in a little bit of trouble with the department, and now, one more time.
We've done fairly well.
Great job, yeah.
I think we made over $200,000 last year, which
Way to
is
go.
great. If we can keep that up, it can allow us to maybe invest in some new facilities and provide some better services to the residents here.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, the waste that comes in, let's talk about the material recovery facility, the MRF, the recycling place. Okay, so that's run by a contractor as well, and you get you get recyclables coming in from as far away as?
As far away as Madison.
Yeah, can you imagine that, everybody? Some of our waste is then joined with waste from other places in the state, and that allows the contractor to, with a broader net cast for these kinds of resources, to then get it to market in the kinds of quantities that can bring a profit.
Yeah, with signing the contract with the contractor, it allowed them to put in a bunch of equipment. They put in almost double the capacity for our equipment, so they can process all the county's garbage and then bring in recycling from other places, Marshfield, Wisconsin Rapids, Wausau, Madison, and process that, and then the county receives a section of the revenue. So we've actually, without spending any county money, increased our production capacity, our processing capacity, and allowed there to be a better revenue stream there. So rather than losing money, we can actually make some.
Beautiful. All right, let's talk transfer facility, and then we're going to get to this pile over here. So tell us a little bit more about that transfer facility and how citizens use it. Maybe we'll take a minute or so, and then we'll get to 4 minutes of this wonderful stuff.
All right, the transfer facility is located in the same yard as the recycling facility. It's a separate building. The main function of it is it's a tipping floor where the trash goes onto the floor. It gets scooped up, semi-compacted, put into a large semi-trailer, and then taken to the landfill. It's very inefficient to have garbage trucks driving a long distance. So by having that facility right there, we can have all the local garbage trucks make short trips, reduce the hauling costs, and then have an efficient semi going to the landfill instead of having 24 garbage trucks.
That's well explained. Thank you.
And then we offer a lot of other programs in that same building. We do have appliances and electronics that we'll take. There is a fee for those. You can check at our scale box, check on our website, give us a call. We can explain that to you. Take fluorescent bulbs, used oil filters, and oil absorbents. Those are all banned from the landfill, so we'll take those. Antifreeze as well.
Appliances, if I remember right?
Yep, appliances, refrigerators, freezers, dehumidifiers, air conditioners. I know with summer coming up, people are going to find those dehumidifiers. They just don't work after that winter, and so we'll take those there. We also take scrap metal. We don't pay you for it, but we'll be happy to take that. So
It helps our county program then.
it does, and it's a convenient option. So you have that one gas grill that you take the gas bottle off, it's all metal. We'll take it right into our scrap in there.
That's good to know too.
Charcoal grills, if you have any lawn furniture that's mostly metal, we can take that too. Just check with the gentleman operating the loader there, he'll direct you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now let's talk about this stuff here, and then also about household hazardous waste. That's the, the aerosol cans of stuff and paint and whatever.
Yep.
So we'll get to that as well.
So we've got some of your,
He gets his trusty glove out.
well,
Alex.
it all goes through the same garbage truck that the garbage goes in sometimes, so it's a little gooey as it comes out the end. Just some of your common recycling things. We all know you can do paper and cardboard. We ask that you don't do things like pizza boxes or waxed cardboard boxes. If you ever have like those big fruit crates or stuff that are waxed, those have to go in the garbage. But otherwise, we'll take most any paper or cardboard products. If you have your little junk mail envelopes with the window, you can put those right in. Something like this Quaker Oats tube. It's cardboard tube. There's a little plastic bottom, plastic top. Pop those off. Boom, it can go on the recycling.
Excellent.
You've saved a lot of weight on the garbage. And then these are just some sort of your common things. We all know about soda bottles, Gatorade bottles, glass bottles, metal cans.
What about the lids?
The lids, no, we can't really process those, so don't worry about too much if the lids are on there, but don't feel like you have to put the lid back on the bottle. You can throw the lid in the garbage. It just, we don't have the system to sort out that material.
Kind of messes up sometimes when it gets caught in things, I would suppose. We've got a couple of minutes, so we want to help us with some more things here.
All right, so you got things like your Planters peanuts. This is a number 1. Numbers 1 and 2 for plastics are required to be recycled in Wisconsin. We actually take 1 through 7. So
take them all.
We take them all.
All recipes of plastic.
We go a little bit above and beyond. So Planters tube, something you might not quite think about, but this is like a Gatorade bottle, a sports drink bottle, not the plastic one, but the actual reusable.
I didn't know that.
It's a number 2. Just look for the little numbers on the bottom. And shampoo bottle, again, it's a number 2 plastic.
So the rest of the plastics here, and what about these cottage cheese containers?
All right, these are not 1 and 2, sort of the lower grade plastics. We call them our junk plastics. They don't go to junk, they actually get recycled.
So we can. Oh,
yep,
yay.
so your cottage cheese container here. We've got a little yogurt container.
Good.
Your Yoplait,
all that kind of stuff.
Trapani, your little butter container. Those are all number 5 plastics.
What we talk about household hazardous waste in about 30 or 40 seconds. It's so funny.
We do run a household hazardous waste program. We do it by appointment only. Let's see if I can get the number for you
Unless
here.
we hold those special events, right? Because we hold the clean sweeps every now and then, don't we?
Nope, we do it by appointment only.
We used to then, okay.
Yes, but
Kind
we
of
went
got
to a 9 months of the year program, March through November. If you make an appointment, it is 715-346-1931.
1931, okay.
We are open pretty much 5 days a week. We just ask that you make an appointment. We kind of run a small staff, so we want to make sure that somebody's around to handle you. It is 75 cents a pound, and we will take your aerosols, your deck stains, your oil-based paints.
Wonderful.
The gasoline that you dumped out of your snow blower or the old gasoline from your lawnmower that you're just cleaning out. We'll take all that, your pesticides, your fertilizers.
Excellent.
And and it is a great program to make sure that stuff doesn't go in the landfill or in the water supply.
Wonderful. Thank you, Alex, for joining us. I would say next month we're going to talk about library, summer programs for youth, for children, so I can't wait to see you then. Thank you.